Hey everyone, this is Zach, and I'm back with another conversation today. I kind of wanted to go in depth about how the coronavirus has affected me in my life as a college student. Um, yeah, to start off, I guess we'll talk about how I learned about the virus. Now, being in college, I'm kind of deprived of a lot of news going around the world. The main way that I got news growing up was with my parents just having it on TV during dinner and during most hours of the day. So over time, I would just be downstairs and get a glimpse of what's going on. But being in college, you really, or at least for me, I'm not watching television. I'm not really up to date with what's going on in the world. And I really kind of missed a lot of the buildup of this virus. Now, I didn't know about it until a good week before it got really bad and schools started closing here in the United States. And I think it was just a big shock because for me it kind of came out of nowhere. Next thing you know, I'm being sent home. All this crazy stuff is going on. And I'm just thinking, I haven't heard about this until now. Like, is it really that bad? Um, so I really didn't know about it until it really got bad. I think the time I started realizing was my roommate, who's also my best friend. Um, his girlfriend was studying abroad in Italy, and obviously through him, I got word of a bunch of places over there shutting down and people panicking, and she was trying to get out of Italy as fast as possible because of this virus. So that's really the first time I began knowing about it, was through that relationship and hearing what was going on overseas versus the United States, where there really weren't any cases of it. And it all kind of started. Uh, my roommate had plans over spring break, which was right. Our school that we were going to closed right at spring break, just to prevent travel and bringing it back into the community, which is smart now that I realize. But before all that, um, he had a plane ticket to go overseas with his sister and one of her friends to basically visit his girlfriend who was studying abroad. And once all this was surfacing, he was really trying to get a refund for these tickets, and it was having a horrible time. And it led to a lot of very funny phone calls to these airline companies, because my friend is very much a comedic genius, and he has a lot of funny, just instant things to say to these companies, and I just got to listen in on it, and I had one hell of a time listening in. But yeah, that's really the first time I heard about it. And a week later, I was in a lab at the time that uh, the idea of shutting down the school was really prevalent. Because I was working in a lab. I'm a electrical engineer at my university, and my lab partner was an RA um, at the time, or she's not really anymore because she lost her job based on the school closing. But I was working with her, and she was telling me about how there's been a lot of talk about it. And at that time, rumors started to float around that the school was closing that day. And basically, everyone in the lab, had just gotten there. No one really was focusing on work. We were all talking and speculating about what was going to happen. And eventually, every group left the lab without getting much work done, still talking about what's happening. An hour later, we get an email from the president of the school, basically saying, yeah, the school is closing. Uh, you have you, how we did it, how our school did it, is the school was still open, but all classes were to be taken online. So, meaning students can still live in their dorms, um, but they weren't able to go. None of the buildings for classes were open, so they're not really able to get out and do anything. They're just stuck in the dorm room. So my roommate and I, all my friends at school, basically packed up and moved home because that was the smartest idea for us since we were gonna be here for the summer anyway in a month. So we all pack up. It took a few days, obviously, because no one's prepared for it. No one has traveled, or a lot of people had plans to travel home over spring break, but no one really planned on moving out of the room entirely. So it was kind of a messy process of everyone at once freaking out and trying to get all their shit and go back home and call their parents and say, hey, can you bring like a few extra vehicles so we can pack them up? And it was very easy for me. I live 20 minutes from my school. I chose to live on campus just for the college life, and I really wanted to try and be social, and it really did work. Um, I would very much recommend living on campus your first 2 or 3 years, just because you'll meet a lot of people no matter who you are. If you're not a social person, you'll still meet people at college. And like for me, I've met a few people through my classes, but all of my good friends I've made by talking outside of classes and just getting to know people. But um, so everyone kind of went home. My roommate wasn't able to bring all his stuff home, so he had to make plans to come back and get his stuff. I brought half of my stuff home on that first day and then went back the next day to get the rest. And then because it was spring break, there wasn't really a lot going on. I just hung out at home, uh, didn't really see anyone. Um, I did see that the first 2 days I was home, I got to see my girlfriend. My girlfriend dropped out of college to work full time at her job, so I didn't. She used to go to school with me. That's where we met, but I really don't get to see her too often now. Especially now, I don't. Um, but I got to see her. So the first week home wasn't too bad. It was just me. I still, I'm 20 years old. I just am home playing video games with some of my friends, some of my high school buddies, which has been nice to catch up with them, experience what they're going through as well. And, um, yeah, so I talk to my roommate pretty much daily online, which is good. I talk to my girlfriend every night because she's still working at where she works. She hasn't lost her job. I've lost my job, not indefinitely, but I work at a clothing retail store, so that got shut down by the head of the company, and we got a call the other day that all hourly waged employees were getting laid off for the time being, which is a bummer, but it's mainly due to our manager trying to allow us unemployment, which doesn't apply to me, unfortunately. So I'm kind of screwed. But we're all hourly waged employees will be offered their job back. So I'm not too worried. It's just a bummer for now because we don't really know how long this is going to last. But that's kind of how work's been going. We got paid for our scheduled time at work, which was nice. I got paid 40 hours of work that I really didn't do, which was kind of just a nice bonus to make it through these first couple weeks. But that's all right. The schooling is refunding a lot of the room and board costs, which is good. So I think that's all being treated well. It's just a bummer because, yeah, I miss my friends. I don't get to see really anyone other than if I'm using a form of FaceTime or something like that. It's still different though than person to person because my family is kind of taking the whole quarantine thing very seriously. We're not really going out at all, which is fine. I've always been the type of person who has a lot of indoor hobbies and is able to pass time quite easily if I'm not out and about and doing things with people. So that's good. That's really helped me through this, but it's starting to wear away. Like, I've kind of started this whole YouTube thing because I'm getting pretty bored here at home. I've been watching a lot of TV. I love playing music. I have a drum kit and a guitar that I like to play. I've been writing some music, so that's always been something I want to do. So it has allowed me to focus on a lot of these hobbies, but at the same time, it's taken away a lot more, which is fine. I just don't know how long it's going to last, so I don't know what to prepare for, I guess. So yeah. It has been nice. The one thing I can say about it, there has been a lot of good that has come from this. I get to spend time with my family, which I didn't really get to do at college. I was too focused on schoolwork and all that stuff. But I really get to spend time with family. I have a dog, and I've been enjoying playing with my dog. Most nights, my girlfriend and I have been going on speakerphone on a call, and we've been syncing up a movie together. So that's been fun. But yeah, that's kind of how it all happened, and the initial impact it has had on me. One funny story that came from this was our schooling has a few places around the campus where we can buy snacks with these in school bucks that they give you based on your meal plan. And everyone kind of saves them to the end of the year for finals or midterms. And I had a $300 plan that I had already spent 100 of that. So as soon as we got word of the school shutting down, I got two friends of mine, my roommate and another good friend of mine, and I basically said, hey, you guys want to spend all this money? And they were both totally down for it. So we grabbed like the biggest bags we can. We head down to the school store. Turns out we weren't the first ones prepared with this idea. Everyone was down there grabbing as much food as they could. It was really honestly a fun experience. So I basically came home with $200 worth of snacks. That went pretty quick, but there were some good memories. Not my roommate, but my other friend and I got photos taken of us, and they ended up in the newspaper, which was pretty cool. The school newspaper. My roommate had an interview down there with the school newspaper, and he got some parts in the paper, so in the article. So it was a fun experience. And I definitely enjoyed that aspect of it. It was cool being put in a situation where you just have $200 to spend and you have one day to do it. I thought that was a lot of fun, especially since I had my friends there with me doing it as well. They didn't have as much as I did. One of them had around 70 and the other around 30, but it was still a lot of fun. But yeah, that's that story all wrapped up. I can talk about my mental and physical health. Mental health isn't awful. I've always been one. I kind of dip in and out of a form of depression. I'm not diagnosed with any type of um, depression or anxiety or anything like that, and I don't like to self diagnose myself. But yeah, I would say I do hit these lulls where I can get pretty upset over nothing, and I just need to recover from that, and I find ways to cope with it. But it hasn't been bad at all. I still talk to my friends daily. I'm a lot closer to my college friends than I am my high school friends, which is a bummer. Um, but I talk to both of them, both groups daily, which is good. I talk to my girlfriend, like I said, every day, which has been very nice and enjoyable. And I was already used to not seeing her, so it's not too bad. Um, my physical health, it's not great. I'm a big soda drinker, but as much as I drink sodas, I've been out playing with my dog. We went on a walk the other day out uh, my house, which has a nice trail through the woods out behind it. Took her out on that the other day, which was a lot of fun. And I have been getting out and about, skateboarding, stuff like that. Um, my sister and I have just been trying to find stuff to do, binge watching shows, all that kind of stuff. So I guess binge watching shows isn't really a great display of my physical health, but I mean, with boredom, sometimes you gotta sacrifice that, which I've never been huge into physical health. I'm a pretty slim person, so I've never really been focused on it. I ran cross country and track in high school, so I've always been a runner. I've always been relatively fit, so it's not a big priority to me. Um, the last thing I want to really talk about here is my future and my thoughts on it, which right now, this whole coronavirus has kind of halted these thoughts, um, like my plans. Not as bad as some people, but I'm just not so I'm not so focused on the future. I'm more focused on what's going on right now and trying to get through, like, learning online courses now and doing all kinds of different styles of homework and scanning projects and sending them in through online. It's just been different. Um, my plan, I'm still talking with a few friends, and I have plans of getting an apartment next year. So we haven't really halted that idea, as much as we don't know how long this is going to last. It's not really. I'm not too worried that it's gonna go into and halfway through the summer, which is when we really plan to start looking. But it's still kind of taken away some of my energy about the excitement I have for what's to come. I'm just kind of in a spot where I'm trying to figure out now instead, which I think everyone is. Everyone's just trying to make it to the next day. I don't personally know anyone with the coronavirus. It's pretty prevalent in the state that I'm in, but it has not affected anyone close to me, or relatively close to me at that matter, which is good. I'm sure at some point, um, it'll spread to someone I know, and then I'll have to really start taking consideration as to how to move forward with that knowledge. But for now, I just hope that everyone's really staying safe. Everyone's staying indoors when they have to, even if they don't want to. It's very it's a very important thing right now. Uh, I wish everyone the best through this. And if you want to tell me your stories, go for it. I know a lot of people probably have a lot worse situations than I do, but I just wanted to hop on the mic and get what I'm going through down in a recording, just to look back at and reflect on and see where I end up from here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed listening, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.